And, they're floating this idea that Gavin Newsom may run or, may step in if Joe Biden can't complete his race. As California refugees here to Iowa, what do you think of Gavin Newsom running for president in place of Joe Biden?
Two women at a Trump rally who claim to have just moved from California to Iowa also claim to not know who Gavin Newsom is.
I don't even know who Gavin Newsom is,
Yeah, no,
honestly. No, I don't.
Wow. Okay, you don't know who Gavin... No, and I'm not trying to embarrass you, but...
Totally fine.
Okay, well, he's the governor of California, and that's actually really awesome.
My husband's on that.
Now, I usually don't like to assume that people are outwardly lying about their beliefs or circumstances and things like this because I don't know these people and I usually don't have a reason not to believe them specifically. But I said that they claim to be former Californians because there have been a few instances recently where people at Trump rallies aren't actually who they say they are. Shocker. And this isn't some baseless and broad accusation of paid actors. Just recently, they have told us themselves. Of course, there was the infamous white guy wearing a Blacks for Trump t-shirt, despite the fact that the man was admittedly not black and therefore not representative of Blacks for Trump.
Shirt says Blacks for Trump.
Yes.
Blacks for Trump. Are you black?
No, I'm not black.
Okay.
But then at an auto worker rally in Michigan, at a rally that Trump chose to do at a non-unionized automotive part supplier in the middle of an auto union worker strike, one person was seen holding a sign that read, quote, "Union members for Trump." That person later told a local reporter that they were not a union member. Someone else was seen holding a sign that read, quote, "Auto workers for Trump." That person also later clarified that they were not an auto worker. And now we have two women who claim to have just moved from California but don't recognize the name of the California governor. And by the way, Gavin Newsom has been the governor of California since 2019, so for about 4 years. And before that, he was the state's lieutenant governor for 8 years. So this is interesting for a few reasons. For one, if you're here watching this video, you probably pay attention to politics a decent amount. You might not even live in the state of California, but you are, at the very least, familiar with Gavin Newsom's name. You probably didn't even need me to tell you that he's the Democratic governor of California because you already knew that. For people like that, or for people like us, I should say, it can sometimes be difficult to remember or even to comprehend that some people really don't know as much as we think they should know about certain subject matters. Now, that said, I knew who the mayor of my city and who the governor of my state was when I was in elementary school and decidedly not paying attention to politics. So where you draw the line for need to know information really seems to be subjective. And that's the nicest way I can put that. Also, it might be unfair to assume that these women don't pay attention to politics because they are literally at a political rally. They went out of their way to be there. They made plans to be there. They got dressed, they got in a car, and they drove to a political rally. That's a lot of effort for people who aren't into politics. So now let's assume that they do think of themselves as people who are into politics. Maybe calling them political hobbyists would be a stretch, but they appear to have some thoughts and opinions on the things going on in this country. Now, the problem that and I would imagine a lot of you have now, is that these two people have opinions and thoughts on topics that they appear to be very poorly educated on. To be fair, they declined to offer their thoughts on Gavin for president because they admitted that they didn't have any, but that still feels like very basic information for any person in attendance at a political rally to have, especially someone who just moved from California. How much attention could either of these women actually be paying? Now, I'm sure we've all met people in our personal lives who held very strong opinions on things that they didn't understand, whether that's politics or just anything else. In an ideal world, people would stay in their lanes, be transparent about the things they don't understand, and then seek to understand those unfamiliar things when confronted with them. Of course, even understanding that you don't understand something requires some degree of understanding. Something that keeps coming up with stories like this one is that soundbite of Trump from Nevada, where he was proclaiming to love the poorly educated.
We won with poorly educated. I love the poorly educated. We're the smartest people. We're the most loyal people.
Even though he said it in the context of a voting demographic, the quote still stuck because the implication was what a lot of people were already thinking, that someone like Trump likes having people around him who he can easily deceive and manipulate in his own effort to get whatever it is that he wants. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, please follow me on all the socials and check out my podcast, Modern Context, available wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks.